There is now a program in Flint, Michigan, or near Flint, Michigan, where they are putting up a billboard being pulled by a trailer that says 1 mile ahead, police drug checkpoint with dogs. And the main goal is to see who makes a quick U-turn and then bust them. And apropos of that, Professor David Moran is with us. He's a clinical professor of law at the University of Michigan Law School, law.umich.edu. And we'll have that link on our website at thomhartmann.com. Professor, welcome.
Thanks. Nice to be here.
Good to have you with us. So your constitutional concerns or legal concerns about this behavior by the, I'm assuming, state police in Michigan?
Actually, no, it's the Genesee County Sheriff's Department. Genesee County is the county, Flint's the county seat of Genesee.
Right. Okay. So what are your concerns about this?
Well, the U.S. Supreme Court held in 2000 that you can't have random narcotics checkpoints on the highways. They struck down a program the city of Indianapolis had set up at that point. It's an illegal search and seizure because everybody gets seized. That is, when your car gets stopped and you're questioned, you are seized. You're prevented from going on your way for a while, and there's no individualized suspicion. The Fourth Amendment generally requires probable cause before the police.
Right. They see you driving in a bad fashion, and then they've got a probable cause to stop you.
They see you commit a traffic violation. That's probable cause to stop you.
Right.
That stop may lead to other things like indications that you've got drugs.
Yeah, or breathalyzer.
But they can't just stop everybody going down the highway.
Right.
So a narcotics checkpoint is illegal. And what they did, and I'm happy to report, by the way, that as of yesterday, the sheriff took it down. What they were doing here was putting up the signs, and then when people turned around to avoid these narcotics checkpoints, and the sign said there's a drug dog, your car is gonna get sniffed by a drug dog. Then they stopped those people and questioned them and searched them and in order to try and find narcotics activity on them.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said to the Detroit Free Press, it's shabby behavior, and it's probably a form of entrapment.
Right.
Because it's an illegal search, and so if the only way to avoid an illegal search is to make a U-turn to get out of there, and then they go after you for making a U-turn, the government has forced you to commit a crime or a traffic violation in order to avoid being subjected to an illegal search. And so I think there's a strong entrapment argument against it.
Yeah, I totally agreed.
And so an example would be if any of your listeners are having trouble grasping this, imagine if you saw a sign that said mandatory strip search ahead.
Right.
Well, any rational person would turn around and go the other way, and then if they targeted you because you didn't want to suffer an illegal search, that's a problem.
Is this the beginning or the end of a trend around the country of basically illegal entrapments?
Well, I've understood that this has been tried a few times before, and there haven't been very many court decisions on this, and those court decisions haven't been appealed, so there haven't been a series of appellate rulings. I'm mildly confident, not as confident as I'd like to be, but mildly confident that the courts would say no, the government can't force you into either being subjected to an illegal search or avoiding the search and then targeting you because you avoid the search. And the classic example of this is so-called consent searches. You know, an officer says, mind if I look in that bag? Mm-hmm. And if you say no, then the officer can't use that to say, well, that was suspicious that you said no, and therefore I'm going to go ahead and search your bag anyway.
Right.
And that's effectively what they would be doing here, is saying, I want to avoid this search, therefore I'm going to turn around. Well, that makes you suspicious.
Right. But we won't know until, given the, in my opinion, wrongly decided Marbury case, but nonetheless, we have judicial review and judicial supremacy here in the United States. We won't know until somebody tests this in front of the Supreme Court. Are there any indications that anybody is going to bring a lawsuit before the Supreme Court challenging this?
I don't know, since nobody was searched, actually subjected to a drug checkpoint. There's nobody who can sue for that. The only people who could sue would be people who turned around and then were searched. And I know the ACLU of Michigan.
Are they looking for those? Because those folks would have standing.
I think they are. I know the ACLU here put out the word that this was very problematic, but they would have to wait for somebody in order to do anything about it. And I don't know if any of the people who were in that class of folks who turned around and then got stopped and searched. have contacted the.
I wonder if the county sheriff stopped doing it because they figured that pretty soon ACLU lawyers were going to start making illegal U-turns, and they'd pop the wrong one.
Well, the official reason given in the paper yesterday as to why Sheriff Pickle stopped doing this is that the ruse would no longer work because of all the publicity. The drug dealers would know that there really was no drug checkpoint. So that was his justification.
So there actually was no drug checkpoint. There was just so
signs.
Yeah. Isn't this, to put this in the largest frame possible? Isn't this just another example of small centers of governmental power going beyond the boundaries that the founders and framers said, no, you shall not step over that boundary?
Yeah, and my area of expertise is the Fourth Amendment, and I think this is exactly the kind of shabby government conduct that the Fourth Amendment was designed to protect against. The idea that the government will lie to you about a search in order to try and trap you into exhibiting a reluctance to be subjected to that search and therefore be searched.
Right.
Is something I think that would be shocking to the framers who ratified the Fourth Amendment.
Right, and the Fourth Amendment, of course, being the amendment that says that that people should be secure in their person, papers, and effects against unreasonable search and seizure unless sworn under oath by, et cetera, with probable cause. I'm mangling it, aren't I?
It's long, but you got most of it.
But basically, it's our right to privacy. Yeah,
that's it.
Okay.
Against unreasonable searches and seizures.
Yep. Professor David Moran, clinical professor of law at the University of Michigan Law School. Thank you for alerting us to this and spreading the good word.
My pleasure.